Man. Good morning to you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I hope you enjoy a Tito's White Russian. That is Jackson Meadows' favorite cocktail. And what else was I going to say? Lunch today. What do you call Aplos? Rotation? Yeah. So we got a gyro last night. Well, yesterday afternoon to go. And it was delicious last night. So lunch today brought to you by Aplos in the Renaissance and Aplos in Highland Village. And have you been on a rotation?
I'm always on a rotation.
Okay.
Always.
I just want, and your fantasy football team is in the playoffs?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We need to talk to Steve Palazzolo about that. He had the number one NFL podcast in the country last year. His show is Check the Mic. It's on all the platforms. Steve Palazzolo joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Jackson, you want to give him a couple of your players that are on your team?
Oh, dude, I'm stacked.
Okay.
You know, we're rolling. The receiving core is just beautiful. We got CD running out there, leading us the way. Lamar throwing it to him.
Okay.
Who else? We got Zay Flowers out there for the little combo with Lamar. It's a good little team. We're I think Joe Mixon. Yeah, Mixon's running back for me. So it's
okay.
Nakua out there with CD.
Damn.
Got Lamar. Got Kelsey at tight end too. I drafted very well.
Dang, you got Kelsey too.
Boy, we can draft.
Okay. All right. So Steve Palazzolo, do you feel like he can win it?
Yeah, he doesn't need me. He doesn't need my advice. Apologies for my voice today, but yeah, I think Jackson's ready to go.
Okay.
I do need one piece of advice here.
This will be awesome.
Lamar was actually on the is on my other playoff team. I have a playoff team this week. This is my big money league.
Big money.
And I've got two quarterbacks. I've got Patrick Mahomes starting, and he's been starting for a while, but Jared Goff has been putting up numbers.
Ooh.
And I keep benching him. Where do I go?
Oh, we got to stick with Jared in that Lions offense.
Really?
I think so.
I think you're right.
I hate making these pressure decisions, though. You know.
No, but I like it.
That's it.
Okay, so Bills at the Lions this weekend, and so to be indoors, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
being
huge.
way up there
That's
near,
huge.
and the Lions are laying 2.5, but Bills at Lions. How many years? Didn't you win like 3 or 4 years, or 4 or 5 years, and then you stopped playing? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was 5 out of 7, and I finished in the finals in the other 2 in my Experts Dynasty League, or 4 out of 6. I don't know. I won the majority of them, and then they folded the league. Because I was a dynasty.
You were Steve Palazzolo. Won 5 of 7 years in fantasy football. Did you ever win cash, or was it other stuff?
No, it was just cash. Yeah,
okay.
not a ton, but it was all people from the fantasy industry, and basically I had a good draft to start. It was dynasty league. I had an unbelievable draft to start the thing, and my team was just loaded year after year.
Okay, that's unbelievable to win 5 of 7. What was the most you ever won? Like $300, $500?
Exactly 300, I think it was. Yeah, that was the payout. Yeah,
and you went.
But it was like a Christmas bonus every year. I was like Chevy Chase banking on the Christmas bonus from the fantasy league every year.
Yeah, and then you could go load up on Skyline Chili.
Oh yeah, brought the kids there last night. Actually, I'm going to send you pictures every time I go to Skyline with the kids.
Did you really take your kids to Skyline Chili last night?
Yeah, they just like the spaghetti, not the actual chili. They just like spaghetti.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah.
Is Skyline Chili like the equivalent of? Are they everywhere in Cincinnati? I mean, how does that
work? Everywhere.
So it's like Chick-fil-A and Wendy's and stuff down here?
It's like Dunkin' Donuts in the Northeast. You can't take 3 steps without having a Dunks right next to you where I come from. That's Skyline here.
Okay. NFL insider Steve Palazzolo on the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Stella Artois and Wings at Aplos and the Renaissance. What's going on with A.J. Brown? So the Eagles are winning.
Yeah.
But A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, somebody's the godfather of one kid, right, Jackson? Who's who? Jalen is A.J. Brown's kid's godfather. But A.J.'s not happy, but they're winning, and Saquon Barkley's having an MVP season. So what gives, Steve Palazzolo?
I think it depends on how much you trust A.J. Brown's explanation yesterday. He was basically saying, the question was, what's wrong with the offense? Well, it can't be the run game because Saquon's an MVP candidate. He's running great, so it has to be the pass game. So that's what he's saying was the answer, and you would say that's correct. The pass game has not been as good as the run game relative to expectations. And A.J. went on to say the pass game, that doesn't just mean the quarterback. That could be pass protection. That could be the receivers. That could be anything. And there's some truth in that, right? Obviously, with an 11-2 team, you don't necessarily want to bring that stuff to the forefront if you don't need to. But there's been a little disconnect with the pass game there. I don't think it's wrong. A.J. caught all 4 of his passes for first downs last week, but I think there's more to be done. And Jalen Hurts is an interesting quarterback because I think he's good overall, but I do think he has some pass game limitations. And he's had multiple offensive coordinators now, and the offense kind of morphs into a similar style. And it's kind of slow and plodding, and you get the tush-push that breaks it all up, and you got the run game now. But I do think they've lost a little dynamism through the air, the ability to really create big plays the last few weeks. So we'll see if they attack a little bit more. But, I think A.J. was just kind of being honest. Hey, the run game's better than the pass game right now.
Well, how would you Jalen Hurts is a good player, but he'll never take out Mahomes and Josh Allen and, Matthew Stafford, dudes that just throw darts from the pocket. But he'll never even I don't even think he'll ever be considered good as a refined passer from the pocket. He kind of is what he is now, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on if you're saying he's not good, he's probably underrated. If you want to put him in that top tier, he's probably overrated. So it's somewhere in between that. A lot of the offense is built around his ability to run, what they're able to do in short yardage. And then, he doesn't always handle the blitz well. Some of that was schematic last year in particular. So, there's some polish needed to his game from a pass game perspective, but they've got great weapons, and it's on him to get the ball to them. And I think they could do a better job of that, be a little bit more consistent with it. But, I'd say, Hurts is definitely a tier below or 2 tiers below those top guys in the NFL, despite, being in the MVP race, over the last couple of years.
How did Steve Palazzolo's NFL Insider NFL Podcast of the Year last year? His show is Check the Mic. You're traveling, you're bouncing around, you want heavy NFL, you want to go with Steve Palazzolo and his group. How would you describe running backs now? Has something changed? You love to throw the ball, I get it. But with what Saquon and Derrick Henry and others are doing and the impact that they're having, how would you frame that up as far as the impact and importance of running the football at a high level in the NFL?
So, no, I don't think anything what's being said over the last few years. The running back, so all of those guys that are making an impact, let's just use Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, for instance. Both left bad teams, bad situations, bad offensive lines. Saquon Barkley was averaging 4.1 yards per carry over his last 3 years with the Giants. Derrick Henry was averaging 3.9 yards per carry last year with the Titans, with a bad offensive line. And now they go to a good situation, and Saquon's at over 2 yards per carry more than he averaged with the Giants. And Henry's up close to 6 or whatever he's at right now. So I think what it reinforces, if you have the other pieces in place, and by the way, one of those pieces is the running quarterback. The running quarterback puts so much strain on the defense. It's essentially like a free block of a player, right? It essentially cancels out one player on the defense who always has to account for the QB. So now that takes pressure off the offensive line, the tight ends, the fullbacks, blocking up front, just takes pressure off. So now you're dropping and those guys are good running backs. Barkley, Henry, I would even say, let's say Christian McCaffrey before he went to the Niners.
Sure.
And look what he did to their offense. So what you did is you took really good players who cannot produce on their own, because you just can't produce on your own as a running back as much as other positions. Do QBs need help? Absolutely. But can a QB elevate a team more than a running back? Yes, no doubt. So you took these good players and you dropped them into great situations. Baltimore with Lamar, have to account for Lamar, good offensive line, pass game weapons. Philadelphia, all the weapons that they have. Talk about McCaffrey with San Francisco a few years ago. Did he elevate their offense? Absolutely. But they were already good. So I think when you hear those narratives like, oh, the running backs are valuable again. Well, yeah, if you have all the other pieces in place, they can be the cherry on top still.
Okay.
But they're not going to go to a bad situation. Just get ready for the Ashton Genty discourse, Bo. That's what the Cowboys need. Despite what Rico Dowdle's doing right now, that's what the Cowboys need, Ashton Genty, so they could be just like the Eagles and Saquon Barkley. Just wait. It's going to happen January through April. But you have to make sure that everything else is in place before you put the cherry of the running back on top of the Sunday.
Okay, fair enough. Steve Palazzolo, NFL insider, on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. His show is Check the Mic, and he joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Okay, so that makes sense with Saquon and Derrick Henry and McCaffrey and so on. If you got to pick any wide receiver in the NFL today, who would you pick?
It's going to fluctuate every week between Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase right now.
Boom.
The way they're playing. Coming into the year, I would have said Tyreek Hill. If you take age out of it, there's always the expectation is he'll regress at some point, and I think you're getting some of that this year. But I always thought Tyreek Hill over the last few years was just so difficult for opposing defenses to account for because he could win everywhere. But Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are up in that boat, and I'd say A.J. Brown's close. But you see with Jamar Chase getting targeted like 18 times or whatever on Monday Night Football, I mean, he's been the focal point of the offense. They get him the ball, and he still manages to create those big plays. I know Jefferson had a bit of a touchdown drought, but if you watch Minnesota play, teams have to account for him. Kevin O'Connell does a nice job moving Jefferson around, and he's opened it up for everybody else. They have other guys to throw to. So, look, I think Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are battling for that top spot. I'd probably put A.J. Brown in that conversation as well. And then I think Tyreek Hill may have finally hit a bit of a point where maybe he's not, battling for that top spot any longer.
Okay. Is Joe Burrow better than Patrick Mahomes?
Better than, I would not say. Playing better than, yes. I mean, he's definitely playing better than him. But I don't think he's better than him in totality. And there's still something like Mahomes is not good, has not been great throw for throw, down to down this year. That's no doubt, that's the truth. But he does have that knack in crunch time for the most part. I mean, there's some other stuff he's gotten away with. He could have sealed the deal against Denver, overthrew a wide open Travis Kelce in the end zone, overthrew a Xavier Worthy in the end zone against the Raiders. Those were the two games. Like if they had lost those games, which they should have from an offensive perspective, if they had lost those games, you blame Mahomes. But now the narrative is, yeah, Mahomes always comes through in the clutch. More often than not, he does. So Mahomes is better overall, but Burrow's playing better football. And Burrow could be up in that mix with Allen and Mahomes and Lamar and whoever else you want to put up there and compete with those guys. Burrow's just really been let down by the other side of the ball so much this season.
Okay. All right. So this is the second year, though, that Mahomes has been able to do this because Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, and Chris Jones, among others, can get enough 3 and outs and over the course of the game and do things on the other side of the ball to allow the offense to create some magic at the end, right?
They're kind of defying the odds, right? So a lot of analysis and everything is like, hey, you can't just focus on red zone defense. You can't just focus on turnovers because those things tend to fluctuate. And I think in the Chiefs case, you can't just take a team that always wins by 3 and assume that'll be the case. The Vikings did that a couple years ago. Remember, they had 10 one-score wins, and it's like, well, that's never going to be sustainable. That's impossible. And it is over time. Like you should not be able to play with fire every week and not get burnt. You shouldn't be able to do that. But the Chiefs have a knack It's like they're calibrated to win by 3 every single week, no matter whether they're playing the Panthers or they're playing, a good team. They just know how to win by 3. So I think there's an element of they keep doing it because they do play. They don't make the key turnover. They don't make the key mistake in the fourth quarter overall. And the other teams do for the most part. The Raiders, they fumble, and the Broncos, they block the punt, they block the field goal against Denver. So, look, at some point, could it come back to bite? Because it's just a play here and there. If you go back through the one plays, not just this year, but in the playoffs, like in the playoffs with Kansas City, they bat a pass on 3rd and 4 that would have ended the game for the Niners. If Jalen Hurts doesn't just drop the ball fumbling against them in the Super Bowl. Like, there's a lot of one-off plays the last couple of years the Chiefs have gotten away with, but they continue to get away with it to this point.
Who, if you had an opportunity to pick any tight end you wanted today in the NFL, who would you pick? Steve Palazzolo?
It's still probably George Kittle, but boy, Brock Bowers is getting close now. Brock Bowers is getting close already. I mean, that guy is such a good, smooth receiver. And, he doesn't have to block in line like some other guys, but he can have a Kelsey-like career where it's like, dude, this guy could take over a game. He could win down the field. He can win in the short area. I think Bowers is going to be close right away. Kelsey's different this year. I think you could see that in Kelsey. He still, slithers through the secondary, and can get open. He doesn't make any of those dynamic plays after the catch. Now watch him turn it on in the playoffs.
Right.
All of a sudden look fast again.
Right.
But he's just kind of been, getting by this year. So I don't think Kelsey's in the mix anymore. But Kittle, you saw that last week. Kittle looked fast last week. When he's healthy, he's still legit. He just doesn't get targeted as much in that offense. But I think Bowers is already close to being that guy.
He's unbelievable. NFL insider Steve Palazzolo on the Out of Bounds show. What do you make of Bill Belichick making the move to college and taking the North Carolina Chapel Hill job, Steve P?
I was really surprised. I think as surprised as everyone. Now everybody's going to come back and say, "Oh, we should have seen this coming." But yes, this is surprising. I think part of it is he's trying to set up his son for another job. That's part of the deal, allegedly.
Good grief.
But it's funny because people close to Belichick, even as recent as 20 years ago, did talk about how much he loves the game, and maybe he would take maybe it was it Halberstam maybe years ago writing this. Mm-hmm. I just saw it today. Maybe he would take a lower stress job just to be a teacher, love football, that type of thing. And I still think he wants to get paid. He likes the money coming in, and even if it's a lesser amount than he would have gotten in the NFL. But I also think there's this element of how many NFL teams actually want to turn everything over to Bill Belichick. So I think he realized that and, gets a head start on getting a job, not dealing with the NFL coaching cycle. And it's going to be fascinating, especially as college coaches are trying to get out of those head coaching jobs.
Yeah, they are.
He's opting in. And it's wild how crazy it is right now. The fact that you've got recruiting and the portal and the playoff, like everything's happening at the same time. There's no downtime. And Belichick opted into that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure this thing's going to work out. I know he hired Lombardi, and he's the biggest name in the game, or Belichick is one of the biggest names, and Lombardi's a big name too, obviously.
Yeah, Lombardi got his fame by just being attached to Belichick.
Right.
That's pretty much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I'll say on that.
I love that. Shots fired. Steve Palazzolo came with violence today, and we like it. So he just took an ice pick to Lombardi's Achilles, and so that dude's toast.
He attacks us all the time without knowing what he's talking about. So
okay, yeah, fair enough.
Go get him, Michael.
Go get him, Michael. All right, dude. Well, hey, I'm going to the Saints game this weekend. So you want me to send you? Yeah, they're letting me go on the sideline for the game. Do you think should I take a pic and send it to you since you're the bigwig NFL guy?
If you can get a picture with Jaden Daniels or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get a picture with Jaden Daniels. Maybe Drew Brees will be on the sideline before the game, and I can get in one of his investments for like $400 or something. So, all right,
Yeah.
dude.
Tell them. Yeah, that'll be fun. Send pics.
All right, man. Have a good week.
All
We
right.
appreciate you. See you, man.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Steve Palazzolo. His show is Check the Mic, and he joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. The show is brought to you by The Armory on Lake Harbor in Ridgeland. Firearms, suppressors, optics, all at The Armory. Beautiful, beautiful shop. Beautiful store and shop. It's The Armory, Lake Harbor in Ridgeland, right in front of Kroger. The Armory, Lake Harbor in Ridgeland, right in front of Kroger. And I thought Steve P was good today. How about Brock Bowers? Sounds like it would be a tough call for him between Kittle and Bowers. Both insane talents. One's a veteran, one's brand new to the league.
Brock's so nice.
Generational, man. You like that? Do you like that I just dropped that?
Love that. Because he is.
Did I just say that? Transcendent?
He is.
Generational?
He is.
God, I'm going to come up with all kinds of
He's
stuff.
going to be one of the best of this, of the next 15 years.
He absolutely will be.
I mean,
if he doesn't get hurt, he is Hall of Fame.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He will be
Lord.
He will be so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
And if they can get their stuff together out there, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Right.
Oh my goodness, man.
God almighty. The boy, we talk about it all the time.
I wish Dak Prescott would have ended up out there. I said it last year. You give Dak a Brock Bowers, goodness. And I love Gardner Minshew. Everybody knows it. I love Minshew mania. I want him to play for a long time and he's already making a ton of money, and make a $1 million. Love what he did at Brandon, Washington State, and what he's done in the NFL.
Right.
But Dak at the Raiders would have been cool with Brock Bowers.
Bowers plays basketball on a football field.
You are right. Kind of like Tony Gonzalez.
Yes.
And
Antonio Gates.
Gates from San Diego / LA. Again, some of my favorite uniforms in the history of sports: San Diego Chargers, LA Chargers, UCLA blue, San Diego blue. My boat is that color, and it's because I love Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow Sr. And you can't take it from me. The show is brought to you by the Gyros and the Pizzas at Aplos and the Renaissance and Aplos in Highland Village. Enjoy lunch or dinner there today. I had a great gyro from there last night. We'll be back in a second.